Now, our special Blue Night presentation, Fall and Rise of a Knight.
Mitrazito here for a Southington Sports special with Eddie Klein, Southington soccer goalie, one of the best in the state. Here to talk about the soccer season, recap it a little bit, and starting off the season, you guys had high hopes. Great preseason. Going into the season, every parent's worst nightmare. Just let us know pretty much what happened.
Well, like you said, we started off great season. High hopes. We had a win and a tie right to start off the regular season as well, and in gym class, we were playing ultimate frisbee, and it was wet out, and somebody just slipped and fell and just took the ankle out, high ankle sprain and severe tissue damage, and it kind of put me on the sidelines for 3.5 weeks.
So what were you thinking right when that happened? I mean, were you thinking about soccer, or were you thinking about what was going through your mind?
The first thing that came to mind was, all right, we got to get something on this because I got practice at 4 o'clock.
Yep.
That was the first thing that came to mind, and then it started to hurt more and more after like the shock of it, I guess, went away. And then the doctor said that, no, I don't think you're going to be playing tonight. I don't think you're going to be playing next week. And then it kind of just got worse, the news from there. But, I mean, I guess all I was thinking about at the time was just like, how can I do this my senior year, you know?
Here's another question. What did you ask? What did you tell Coach Yancey when you saw him that day?
Well, I was in the nurse's office, and they actually called him out of his class to come and see me, but by that point I was already in the car going to the emergency room. But I called him that afternoon because I was going to try to get to practice, but they had given me the medication, and I was right there on the couch just out of it, and I just called him and said, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. He's like, oh, that's obviously not your fault, just try to get better as soon as I can. But I mean, physical therapy took as long as expected, and most of the season, I guess.
I remember the first person that told me was one of the other players on the soccer team, and it was kind of like a shock, like what's going to happen with the soccer season now, because I mean the goalie is obviously one of the biggest parts of a soccer team, the heart and soul of a soccer team. So to lose a good goalie, a talented goalie, is huge for the season. You know, it wasn't for the season, but even for those few games. And I think, did you miss one of the bigger games? You missed the Farmington game, which was one of the bigger games, right?
I missed I missed the Simsbury game home, which I think was the biggest one about it, and it was we were winning 2-0 at the half, or 2-1 at the half, and it ended up just getting away from us. But it was just one of those on the sidelines where you're just gritting your teeth, just frustrated, you know.
Yeah, there's probably many times this season where that was the case too. But even from the sidelines, Eddie helped organize the Wounded Warriors Project, which was a special thing that the Blue Knight soccer team did this year. Some of the fans, you had to pay for admission. All of the profits went to the Wounded Warriors Project. Can you explain that, you know, how it started, you know, the cause and everything?
Well, we had just talked about it over the summer with some of the guys. Not as a joke, but kind of just throwing it out there. Oh, we should probably do something this year, you know. Like I've always said, the baseball team does breast cancer. Like a lot of teams do breast cancer awareness. What can we do? What can we do that's a little different? And we were just kind of, me and 2 other boys, Andrew and Dan, were kind of just pitching around ideas. We're like, and I want to do ROTC myself, so I just kind of threw it out there like, well, what about maybe something for the Army? And Dan had ended up talking to his father, who's the president of the Friends of Soccer, excuse me, and he just said, what about Wounded Warriors Project? And we jumped on it right away. We were at the house probably a week later with just a packet of information about what we need to do to get this ready. Ended up going down the list in a pretty swift amount of time. Probably a week and a half later, we were in a meeting with like teachers from all around Southington, Dr. Varsity, members from the Legion, Dr. Semmel, and we were just telling them what we wanted to do. We just laid it out in front of them and just said, here's what we want to do. Can we do this? How can you help us? And they were all for it. They loved it. They helped us. The Legion actually is putting in their magazine like a clip from, I don't know when it's going in, but like about what we did, and it's going to go in their national magazine. So it was just really, it couldn't have worked out better, except for the fact that I couldn't play. But
that's true. But I mean, I did attend the Wounded Warriors game, and it was really special to see the veterans. Mr. Legier there from DePaulo, who's fought in, he was over in Afghanistan or Iraq, and just Dr. Varsity, Dr. Semmel, members of the board, all of them, and they presented you with an award, I think, right? Mm-hmm. You, Dan Connolly, and Andrew Growski all got an award, and I mean that's pretty special when a student athlete could, even when they're hurt on the sidelines, organize something like that. It's good for the community. It raised good money. I think got everyone pretty fired up. And you guys played Bristol Central that day. I think it was a loss, but still, regardless, it was a pretty special event.
Yeah, I'm just I mean, the amount of people that came out too. I mean, mostly you hear soccer, like I think basketball, I think football, like what brings out the real crowds. But there were a lot of people there, even on that small field on the sidelines, and it was just awesome to be able to be up there on the podium speaking in front of all these veterans that ended up coming. And it could not have worked out better event-wise. So
now with the turf field getting installed, obviously this year, big project, big deal for Southington, not only football, soccer, field hockey, lacrosse. Now, as a soccer team, you guys, again, sometimes do get overlooked because football is such a football-happy town, but, I mean, you guys must have been, especially you, excited for the turf field going in, maybe hoping you'd get a home game, which you ended up, they did get a home game against New Britain, which was senior night on the turf field. How was that, being able to go out there?
That was awesome. The first day we had, I believe it was a Sunday practice. It was a Tuesday game, and we ended up, that was the first time we had gone on the field, and we were all, like, it was like the first time we had, played in the snow or something. Like, we were all over the place, we were running around. There were no goals, but it was still just the coolest thing ever. And then the next day we ended up having the goals to practice. Took a little getting used to, it did, because we played on the Sahara, as we always say.
Yeah, they always call it that, yep.
Mm-hmm. So it was different, but we liked it because we played over the summer on turf a lot. So, and then we just went out against New Britain and just...
How is it in the goal on a turf field? Is that, is there a difference, or is it a slicker surface? Is it easier?
I've always thought it was easier. You never have to worry about the ball bouncing somewhere where it's not supposed to bounce. It's never like it's just going to kick off to a rock and go off to the side. It's always consistent. Obviously that night I didn't have the majority of the saves that I had over the season, but it's cleaner, it's easier to play on, it takes the risk factor out of it a little bit. It's the best. That's why people do it.
So now that you're done, obviously you're graduating this June, and you're going to move on to college. Do you look to go further in soccer, either playing, coaching, maybe just getting involved even back here at Southington, helping out with the team and anything like that? I know you have friends probably on the team that are underclassmen, juniors, sophomores. Would you be interested in helping out, doing anything else with soccer?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said earlier, I want to go into an RGC program so that, especially in Connecticut, takes up the majority of your time, and they recommend that you're not on a team. But I mean, anything could happen in 4 years in college, like between that. But I do want to teach as well, so you never know. 20 years down the road, I might end up being the soccer coach at the high school if has anything to say about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, I'm definitely keeping my options open, but at this point, I mean, it's not looking. Especially because I missed half my senior season, it's tough in that regard, but I mean, you never close the option off, but you also have to look forward to what you want to do in the future.
That always is the most disappointing thing when a senior gets hurt, their last season, you look forward to it so much, but you were able to make the best out of it, both off the sidelines and on the field. What would you say would be your final words, for this season, your recap and what you took out of it?
I think my final words for this season would be that I've never had this team aspect before. Like, I've been playing on teams with these boys for 5, 6, 7 years, the same guys, and finally we're graduating, and it's just, even the younger kids just got into it. They felt it, they felt the emotion, they felt the happy and the sad, and it just felt like a real team. And then it all came together in that last game when we were able to just get that big win. We were able to walk off the field before the game was over to the claps. And I mean, I think that's what it was all about. It might not have been what we obviously planned on in the record book, but at the same time, there's nobody else I'd rather play with on the field.
Yeah, and a lot of high school is just the experience of playing with your friends, and you're never going to get that experience again, and you're never going to get that fun aspect of high school, being able to play for your school, with the school spirit and everything. But a good season. Congratulations. Nice talking to you, Eddie Klein, Southington High School boys varsity senior goalie, and this has been a Southington Sports special. I'm Mitch Rizito.
With that one, base hit, left field. Checked him against the glass. First down, Southington. What a shot, upper left corner.
Southington Sports Fever.